Thanks, voiceover guy, but you got something wrong. I don't have one agency leader in the conversations there. I've got two. I've got Fabio and Duray from Viaduct Generation. How you doing, guys?
Hello, hello. Very
It's
good.
going, yeah,
Welcome back. Your recording was so successful last time. I thought I'm going to do another two-person recording again. The fans loved it. I got letters in the mail, everything. It was great. How are you guys? Have you guys been?
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
you want to take it?
Yeah, busy, ain't it? Busy everywhere. It's been fun. We've just come back from Brighton SEO. We took most of the team out there. It's always a lot of fun. Noemi was speaking, our new head of operations, and she did a fantastic job at carrying the Viaduct crew out there. So yeah, it was really good. It was a lovely time, and things are always busy, but things are good. I'd much rather be busy and challenged than bored.
It never stops, does it, in digital agency land? And I think mentioning Noemi just there, I think that's probably one of the key things that I've seen change with you guys over the year that we'll probably end up touching on about the team development and things. But what do you think has been like in the last year? There's been a lot of stuff that's gone on in the industry and in the agency world specifically. But what do you think's been some of the kind of the major developments in your own agency in the last year, and how do you think you've adapted yourselves to them?
It's a good question, right? I feel like I mean, as Duray said, we just came back from Brighton SEO, and I feel like about 80% of all talks had something to say about AI. So it kind of just goes to show what's going on in the industry, and obviously by default our own agency. I think adapting to new technologies and new ways of doing things is perhaps the biggest sort of change since we last spoke. As a sort of young agency, someone called us a toddler the other day. They were not,
I hope they were being nice.
no, they were like, you're no longer a baby business, you're now a toddler based on the years that we've been going. So I'm like, that makes sense. And I was like, yeah, now it kind of just feels like, the last time we spoke to you, we were full of excitement and strength. Now we're a little bit more beat down, but also with a lot of strength, you know?
Yeah.
And internally, yeah, like I just think everyone is really understanding where we want to take the agency. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest changes we've had since we last spoke to you is also having you as part of us, right?
Wow, look at that for an awesome plug.
Yeah, for sure. No, but that's without shining your boots too much. I don't know if that's an English expression, but it definitely
It isn't, but it should be.
I like shining your in much.
Yeah, that's added to the sort of macro development that we're having right now. Like really understanding where we want to be going forwards, where we want to be in 12 months, and see how we get there.
And Duray, as you came into the agency as a non kind of technical professional. So you came in with your sales skills and all of your past employment history versus being in the tech SEO like Fabio. What have you seen? Because I think that being at the leadership level in an agency and not being on the tools, shall we say, I think that affords you a really good opportunity to sort of see different versions of developments. What have you seen in the agency in the last year? And don't say AI.
Space or in our agency?
In your agency.
In our agency, we've stopped worrying too much about what we look like from an outside perspective and really start worrying more so on our team and our clients, making sure that the delivery is perfect rather than just looking pretty. Worrying more like putting the agency going to the gym rather than putting on a lot of makeup.
I like that.
That's kind of what we've really tried to build up our own internal processes, ensuring that we have standard operating procedures, that we've got really good talent that is well nurtured and they feel well respected and they feel like they can really harness a career here at Viaduct, rather than us pumping loads of money into looking the part. We just really trying to be that part now.
That's awesome. And the industry as a whole has evolved a lot in the last year, and it will always evolve. Something new will come along. AI has been a big part of that. Other than AI, I think there's been, AI is part of it, but the whole experience around what, say, SEO in its own right has changed relatively fundamentally in the last few months. What are you seeing coming down the line in terms of what clients are expecting or asking? Are you having lots of clients say, "Oh, I used ChatGPT to write 20 articles this month. What am I paying you for?"
I did. It's funny that you're asking me this because I know you don't know this, but we literally had a whole call about that this morning.
Brilliant.
It's happening, right? Like we do have clients that obviously we don't only do strategy from a content perspective, we also do implement as well. We have our very own writers in-house. And for one of our clients, we do, I believe it's about 15 pieces a month, right? So he was very much like, why? Well, I can do this myself now with ChatGPT, so why am I paying you to do it? And I think Google thankfully does have the right guidelines when it comes to, like, for example, the update that they brought out earlier in the year, last year at this point, with the whole helpful content updates and like really ensuring that plus the EEAT update as well, like really ensuring that the human sort of perspective doesn't go away. Like I know there's a lot of people that are still very much able to rank properly just through the use of AI, but it's a risk that I'm not sure I'm willing to take just yet. Writing with AI.
I mean, I wonder this time next year if we do another recording, how many more E's are going to be put on that EAT.
Yeah.
This is what you get when you pay for a guy on Fiverr. He just will not go away. I paid him too well. He's bloody good, but
if we can get that 54% increase in net profit in the same amount, it's absolutely fine with me, Chris.
Well, we're working on it, So, Duray, in terms of like you're out there talking to potential clients all the time, talking to potential partners all the time, and I guess before a client asks a question like Fabio's just explained, because they're already a client, how have you kind of changed the narrative, so to speak, when it comes to the pitch process or anything like that? Is there anything that you like, any objection handling that's changed? Because I'm guessing those people that you're pitching to or talking to are still they've probably heard of AI in some way or another, so that must be quite conscious on your mind at the minute.
Yeah, a little bit, but like I think it's incredibly important for us to pivot and pitch ourselves as that partner that's going to support them long term and going to really act as someone primarily from a strategy perspective.
Yeah.
We've always said we love working with teams, in-house teams that have the ability to execute. Because one, it's cheaper because you're not having to pay our day rate to execute. You can pay a salary to execute.
Yeah.
Use us for our combined knowledge. Use us for the experience that we have. Ultimately, the reasons why people hire agencies is to rent the experience that they've got. But if you are renting that experience to write a blog, then yeah, you're right. Probably someone that knows the business, that knows the niche, might be a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I think that it's all about making sure that the retainers that we do have for clients are serving the clients in the very, very best way possible.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're not doing work for work's sake, but also asking yourself, like one thing that we've recently incorporated is like very soon after they initially sign the retainer, we have an immediate meeting couple of months later and just fact check and go, is what you're getting what you paying for?
Yeah.
Are you happy, and does this make sense? Like, is there anything in here that isn't cushy, that you feel isn't rightly balanced? And we go, actually, yeah, we're struggling to make this work and we're struggling to see the value here.
Yeah.
Why don't we pivot these resources into what makes a bigger impact?
Yeah, and I hate to be that advisor that recommends books, and you know that I hate to be that guy, but I have recommended like 4 books to you. The one that I always think of as a staple in this industry is that Selling the Invisible book. It's so, for those who haven't read it, it's a short read. It's what you read it, Duray. I think you read it whilst you're having a haircut at one point, so it's probably like 3 hours tops.
I don't like to say.
The distinction between a product and a service needs to be made clear. And if you're delivering a service, you should be selling on value. And if you're selling on value, you need to make sure you're delivering value. Otherwise, the client will go away. Yeah. And if you're doing the right internal processes and you've got the right thinking people, then that value is delivered, but it's also understood by the customer. It's nice to nice to know that, when you have those meetings with clients, the things that you have to change around alignment are probably just explanation things as opposed to actually deliverables in a broad sense from their scope of work.
Yeah.
What do you think, if we were to sort of skip ahead another 12 months, the industry's changed a lot, but where do you see things going, Fabio, from an agency's point of view, given the speed at which things are going now?
It's almost so hard to predict nowadays, right?
Oh, give it a go.
Yeah, I will for sure. To be honest, that was my way of trying to think of an answer whilst I like the honesty. Okay, no, I think we're gonna see more of the sort of automations that are currently happening with pretty much every new platform that comes out. Like just almost, I feel like all SEOs are perhaps gonna be more centered around the strategic side of things, because I feel like with a lot of the implementation, especially from a content perspective, as we are already seeing, like I think all these sort of new technologies are becoming smarter and smarter. So, I mean, some people may have to develop their strategic minds to ensure that they do stay in their roles.
Yeah, I think you're right. Duray, what's your sense of around that?
I think the agencies that can truly cut through the bullshit, and the agencies that can resonate as actual partners and as people that really, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear, that give a lot and that care, I think they will shine through. Those that are just trying to get a quick buck, that are trying to put on excess margin from a freelancer on Fiverr with nice branding, I think we'll very quickly see the end of those. Ultimately, the internet in general has increased the buyer's access to information. So the need for a consultative sell is even more important because they know the basics already. They know why they need SEO. Now, as you say, you need to be able to sell the invisible and convince them that you're the right people to do the job.
Yeah.
So having a real consultative mindset and a growth mindset of going, hey, this is what we normally do for clients, and that's great. Screw that. What's going to work for this client?
Yeah.
Do we have to go into their office once a month? That's just how they work, and that's how. Fine, go and do that. Figure out how that client likes to work. So I think that's probably where I see it changing.
Yeah. I don't think either of you are completely wrong. I think there's going to be a lot of changes happening. I think, Fabio, to your point around strategic thinking and getting better at that, I do think it is a worrisome time if you've cruised through this industry for the last few years on the same song. If you've been talking about the same thing for 5 years, or you've got the same shtick, you're probably worried a bit, or you're learning about something new. The vast majority of people who have strategy or strategist in their job role really need to look, do I really know what strategy is, or am I just really good at spreadsheets and Gantt charts? Because quite a lot of these things are going to show skill-based thinking versus activity-based thinking. And it's really, really important to get right. So the good news is, hopefully, you guys have been together for another full year.
Yeah.
The good sign is that you're physically not together right now, but you've been relatively well-oiled machine in the last year. I've seen a huge amount of change in the agency, and you guys have worked your asses off.
Yeah.
In terms of professionally speaking, how do you feel like you've grown as a professional in the last year? We'll go with you first, Duray. What professionally do you feel you've developed on?
I think Fabio and I have got better and better at running this business together, and I think whilst we are still incredibly friendly and we still look after one another from a friendship perspective, and there's so much love between Fabio and I think there is also that point where we're very comfortable with just going, hey, for one moment, let's just put the friendship aside. Let's talk about this efficiently from a business perspective. And then I think me personally, how I've developed, I think I've realized that, yes, there's different ways of working, and some people do it in balance and some people don't. And like Fabio's doing something at the moment, which I think is really interesting, is he's just going absolutely all in right? Absolute grafting, working as hard as he possibly can. And then he's going to take a holiday. I'm a little bit different. I can like work at like an 80%, 70% for more consistent time. And that's fine because then we kind of marry each other out. And there's no point me trying to adopt Fabio's mindset because I'm like, after a week, I'm going to be like, I don't know how he does this. It's crazy. Like knowing what I do well and knowing like staying in my lane and doing what I do best and being consistent with it, I think is really important. Not really letting the momentum of the day or the ebbs and flows of running an agency, not letting that affect me too much, but really maintaining that neutral. And I think that's a good result.
And how about you, Fabio, from a professional point of view, do you see going 100 miles an hour a lasting thing, or is that, because I know what I'm like, and lots of people say, I don't know how you can do that much consistently. But also when I have a Saturday morning off, I get bored. So I don't know about you. How do you see professional growth in the over the last year?
So I think I've matured a lot. You know, like I came into this with more I was tired of working for someone else. You know, I was just I always felt like I had to like just be different to the way I am. And then I came into the agency very much like, I'm just going to be myself. And if you like it, you do. And if you don't, you don't, you know. But I think over the past year, I've like, I don't know what it is. I think it's just the consistency behind like every day on a daily basis, just working on the business as well as in the business. I feel a lot more mature professionally, you know, like the conversations I have with clients are a lot more strategic from an SEO point of view, but as well as from a revenue point of view. The conversations I have with the team internally, with like all the employees, it's like I can really sense a sense of matureness. I'm a very emotional person and very passionate. I'm very passionate when like depending on the mood I am. I'm always passionate in the way I deliver my messaging, but I think I've managed to find a way to really balance out the way I am professionally. And I think it's coming across. I think the business is benefiting from it, you know? And to answer your initial point to the 100 miles an hour, I just think I have to be like that. Like, you know, like when I'm working at 70, 80%, I just feel like way too many things slip through the cracks. And then 2 months down the line, it just comes back to bite me, you know? So I almost might try to just give it my all, as Duray was saying initially, give it my all, like for 2 or 3 months at a time. And then the moment I feel burned out, like just take a holiday, just take a 10-day holiday,
and
you know?
To be honest, as long as you know your cadence, the team know the cadence, and that it isn't at a health detriment, then because everyone's so different, you know? And there's some people who, like Duray, for example, you won't get less done. You'll just get it done in a different way over a different period of time, and it will still be great. But consistency is the thing. And if everyone knows what consistency looks like, then that's how it works. And the cool thing is, guys, as we're going through the plan, the program with the agency, there are a lot of things on the horizon that are going to take potential risk factors out of the way, which will allow not to slow down, should we say, because if it's not in your nature, then it's not. But it allows you to put that effort that's taken away from things that slip through cracks, put it into somewhere else that will generate more business or generate better retention or better client satisfaction. Those are the areas where you'll enjoy more as well, because it's genuinely a little bit more fun. Business building is more fun than So what do you think, you know, if we do a recording again in a year, 1 year's time, well, roughly, and we're talking about what it is that you've achieved in the last full year of Viaduct. What do you think you've both got the same goal? Have you got different goals depending on your roles in the business? Where do you want to be in a year's time?
How specific do you want us to be?
As specific as you're comfortable. There are going to be thousands of people listening to this. They love you.
I'd like to continue our growth. We've grown at 50% each year. I'd like to see us consistently grow and hit that targets as well. So if we can continue our growth, that would be good. I'd also like us to be a little bit less reliant on a handful of clients, but rather have like a broader scheme of clients that we all help, and you're not too scared if one was to go, right? Yeah. Rather have a little bit more of a safety net. Personally, I'd love to lose a bit of weight. I'd love to feel a bit more confident in myself. That's something that I would like to put out on the internet so that in 12 months' time, someone can call me out for not going to the gym.
There we go. There's an accountability hook right there for you. What about you, Fabio? Where do you think you want the agency to be next year?
I think my whole goal for this year is to really focus on my team's development. You know, like I've noticed a gap in some aspects of it. And I really want that to be the focus over the next 12 years, over the next 12 months. In 12 months' time, I really want to look back and really notice people's development. Yeah. You know, like I really liked your previous question about Duray and I and how we've developed over the past 12 months. And I really want to be able to look back, because I can really feel it with Duray and I. Like I can tell how much hard work and dedication and consistency we've put in over the past 12 months. I want to be able to do the same thing for the team. And for them to achieve that, I can tell that they need a little bit of direction, a little bit of structure, which is one of the things that we're very much working with you on. Like a few months ago, it was the wild west and everyone was sort of fending for themselves. And right now it's there's a lot more structure to it. And I think that structure will allow everyone to really, really progress and develop. To fulfill their potential, you know. So that's my main priority.
You're going to love hearing this. You haven't heard this yet. I had a call with your new operations manager. I can't remember what Noemi's title is.
Head of operations.
Yeah, that one. So Noemi and I had a call this morning, and we were talking about future state of the organization and roles and things like that. And she is so excited to start building some of this stuff with you guys, which means that your number 3 from an organizational chart point of view is already headlong into that mindset. She wants to get going, which means in 12 months' time, I reckon you're going to be on a beach somewhere having this recording. But I don't know. I'm not very good at predictions either.
Well, I'll sign that prediction.
Chaps, it's been great talking to you again, and no doubt, obviously, we'll be speaking before, during, and after this has gone live. But thanks very much for coming on, and hopefully in a year's time we'll be talking about the successful changes over the course of another year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.